Hi, John. How's it going?
It's going very well, Mike. Thank you. Despite a bit of a breezy weekend, the sun's back shining. So, yeah, I'm doing really well. And how about you?
Really good. Looking forward to our chat today with two really amazing people.
Yeah, this really is going to be something completely different, as they say. So today we are talking to two gentlemen who live arguably in one of the most remote places on the planet, the island of St. Helena, which is in the South Atlantic. And we'll be talking to Neil, who is about to embark on an exceptionally challenging run next month, and his good friend Basil, who is a resident on St. Helena, a St. Helenian, as they're known. The residents, 4,500 of which live on the island. So really looking forward to that.
Good. Well, without further ado, let me put the guys on screen and we can say hello for real.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hello.
Hello. Hi, John. Hi, Mike.
Hi, John. Hi, Mike.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Well, you know what? Thank goodness for satellites. Otherwise, we'd never be having this conversation. It's and also we're gonna have great fun managing the 3-second delay. So just like those live broadcasts in the 1970s, but we're going to do our very best. And like I said at the top of the interview here, we're really privileged to be able to talk to you guys live from St. Helena. What's the weather like out there at the moment?
You say it.
Well, the weather actually probably fairly similar to the UK. We're just coming out of winter here, which is I guess about 12, 13 degrees centigrade, and a little bit drizzly out there. How are things up there?
Yeah, similar temperature, but thankfully the sun is shining. We've had a bit of a weekend of it, but I think that's all now cleared, and so we're really into our autumn weather now. But I guess you're in your spring weather now, is that right?
Yeah, we only 15 degrees south of the equator, so we don't have the kind of four seasons that you have. We usually have, winter and summer. Yes.
Yeah, I see. Okay, and I mean, how hot does it get? I mean, give us an idea of the climate.
Yeah, yes, it never drops. It's a very the topography of St. Helena is hugely hilly. It's a volcanic island, and I was brought up in feet and inches, so you can guess I'm a geriatric. So the island is what 10 miles by 6, but it rises from sea level up for about 3 miles to almost 3,000 feet. So it's very, very hilly. So you get all these mini climates, but we're cooler than you would have on the mainland because we're right in the middle of the Atlantic. We have the Co-Benguela current coming around, so it's a nice even temperature. It doesn't get too hot. Say top 20 Celsius, you think?
That's about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah. We're say between 10 and 30 at the extreme ends.
Right. Okay. So not too dissimilar to the UK then. And Neil, what's Basil, what's the accent? Is that a St. Helena accent or?
Yeah. Let me tell you about that. How much time have you got? Have you got 2 hours?
So, we've got all the time in the world.
All right. So there were no people on St. Helena when it was settled. So it was settled by the English at the time in 1659, and they brought their own people. They brought a garrison to defend it, and they brought some slaves as well. What is very interesting about it, I've only learned this lately, is that the English at the time went through what they call the Great Vowel Shift. All the vowel sounds were long. So in our dialect, we've kept all the long vowel sounds. So we don't say dog, we say dog. We don't say fog, we say fog. Head, is, ongoing. Our dialect keeps the long vowel sounds. I'm shifting to more of a standard, just so you can understand me. You look at all these different dialects in the UK, haven't you? Especially when you go past Hadrian's Wall and get into Glasgow.
Exactly. We get on nowadays, but we didn't a few hundred years ago. But no, absolutely. I think the accents in this in the UK are incredible, given the geographic size, for sure. And Neil, now I don't think that's a Helena accent you have. What's the story?
That's a pretty good guess, John. So I'm here living in St. Helena. My family and I have been here for nearly 2 years, but I'm originally Canadian, from a little place called Winnipeg, sort of the opposite of St. Helena in almost every sense. It's really flat, and the extremes of temperatures take you to minus 35, 40 centigrade in the winter time, and plus 30 in the summer. And St. Helena, as Basil explained, is a very, very interesting place, falling within the tropics. The climate one might expect would be hot and steamy, but the effect is sort of the opposite of the UK, where the trade winds keep the island a bit cooler than it might be otherwise. And there are all these different microclimates, and so the run that I'm about to embark on will highlight some of the amazing diversity in such a short span of space. You see desert, forest, country meadows, flax fields, black sandy beaches, really everything. It's sort of a miniature world in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean. So sorry, your original question, where I'm from Canada, and really blown away by the beauty of the land, and especially the people of St. Helena.
Yeah, well, I just can't wait to get onto Wikipedia when we've had our discussion and just learn more. I'll be honest, I'd heard of St. Helena, but I knew nothing about it, so I'm very keen to learn more. So we've heard a bit of a brief introduction from you both, but what I might do is just I'd like to ask you, Neil, what brought you to the island?
So I originally came to assist with private sector development, and so St. Helena is a very sort of a unique place in the sense that there is a very small population, about 4,500 people live here, and there are some major constraints that very few places, arguably in the world, face. Up until 2 years ago, the only way to get here was on a ship called the RMS St. Helena. Maybe it was a little longer than that, 3 years ago, which was a 5-day journey by ship from Cape Town, South Africa. And so the plane, the flights, and the airport really promised a transformation on the island, in terms of the possibility of alleviating the major constraint of distance and being able to have immediate access, or relatively immediate access. Now, the promise of the airport has performed a miracle on the island in terms of saving lives in emergency situations where somebody needs to be medevaced for further medical attention. It is now possible to get somebody from the island to South Africa for immediate attention. And so a lot of factors initially attracted me to the island. The idea of the airport and the transformative properties of the airport. In a short period of time, relatively short period of time, there is also the promise of a submarine internet cable to replace the costly and latent satellite access. And so as a small community that's trying to find other ways to thrive, these are two potential catalysts for in some ways a rosier future for the island.
Sure. No, that's really interesting. And Basil, I understand you're St Helena's first education officer. So, with the opening of the airport, and perhaps with more modern technology to connect you with the rest of the world, how is education? How do you see education changing in the coming years, and where's it come from? Because you must have a very unique curriculum for the children on the island, and obviously you depend on people on the island to deliver the education.
Yes, the thing is our isolation, in fact, over all the decades and centuries, even have made us having to be very resourceful. So, for instance, we build our so we're not into the sort of global economy, and so we do things like most of us build our own homes. 73% of islanders are in their homes that we mostly build ourselves. So if you want to identify us, I think you can think of us as the people who think with our hands. So, and on the other hand, we can't remain isolated both physically and mentally either. So what we did was we upgraded the education service. So it's based on the sort of UK model. So we take UK exams, GCSEs and A levels, but our curriculum is much wider because we have to both keep a kind of an academic standard, and yet, the other hand, we also had to cater for what the community needs. So our curriculum is much more wider, the vocational skills. So we do agriculture, marine studies, a lot of trades are important to us. We even at the high school, we only have one high school, and yes, it's a very broad, very broad curriculum.
Sure. No, that's fascinating. And of course, talking about community, charity, I'm sure is a major feature of the island. And I understand that you're one of the founders of a charity called Shape. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, the Shape, it goes back a bit further than that, because we have a culture here. We never had any sort of social benefits, so we had to look after our own old people, and so we had disabled children. And we're going back to the 1970s now. There was no provision for them, so a group got together and built. The first thing we did was to build a residential care center for mostly for disabled children. And yes, so we've done a number of things. This disabled society that was formed in 1978. That was one of the things that we did. And the latest, our main thing was to be there for people who want to come to us, individuals. So they didn't feel isolated. They could come to us and we would help them. And the other project we did in more recent days was Shape, because particularly with the young people, disabled people left school, there really wasn't anything for them to do. And so again, yes, people from different backgrounds, government, all from all the main sectors of our society, government, private sector, civil society, and the people themselves, all clubbed together. And we set up this disabled charity called Shape. And one of the things we did after 4 years from a very disused, rundown school that was abandoned, we set up a center for the disabled called Shape. We had 28 people go through the system regularly each year, and they do it's providing a very caring environment where disabled people feel, yes, they don't see their disability as a disadvantage. A place where they feel at home in which they can grow as people.
Yeah, and that's incredible. And isn't it just great how an organisation like Shape or indeed Aerobility can just be weaved into the fabric of society. You know, people depend on the services that these charities provide, and of course, the other thing that those disabled people depend on is the ability for those charities to actually deliver the service in the first place, which of course comes to fundraising. Which means I'm now going to turn to you, Neil. I mean, what an incredible offer of support that you've put forward to us at Aerobility. I've got two burning questions on my lips. The first one, Neil, is how did you find us? Because you're in the South Atlantic and we're in the UK. And why did you choose us to raise money? Tell us a story.
Thank you, John, and great question. The match was really, in my own eyes, sort of really great serendipity. To make a long story short, I heard about the London Marathon and the plans to move to a virtual format. I love running here on St. Helena. It's one of the greatest ways to fully experience the island and everything that it has to offer. And so when I saw the virtual format of the London Marathon, I thought, just out of curiosity, I wonder if there are any spots that have come available and whether this is something that could work here. Now, when I tried to get set up with the place, I logged in or I went to the website and I was filling out the form. It seemed that there was a spot, and I got stumped by the phone number field. And because our phone numbers are only 5 digits in length, the mask kept rejecting it and saying that it's not valid. So I ended up getting frustrated and fed up, and I let it go for the rest of the day. And the following day, I came back and I noticed that there were no spots available. So it was sold out at that point. But I had a very interesting moment of reckoning, because I thought to myself, well, yesterday when I was filling out the form and I was curious about entering the London Marathon, I don't know that I was completely sold on it. And the reason I wasn't completely sold on it was because there wasn't really an opportunity as an individual to do anything for others, that nothing great could come of it if I just did it on my own. So this is when the revelation that there was another way to be able to do the run came into focus. And as I was looking through different charities to partner with, Aerobility immediately caught my eye. And the connection to me was St. Helena, which is a small developing island in the South Atlantic Ocean, which is metaphorically learning to fly through a very recently built airport and everything that goes along with it. I thought Aerobility would be an interesting charity to look into and to try to understand a bit more about. And as I was reading about Aerobility and about Mike's story and about the individuals that have been helped through Aerobility, I thought to myself, this is a perfect analog for the development of the island, and also a perfect analog for a local organization that we have here that metaphorically helps people learn how to fly. And of course, by learning how to fly, what I mean is that everybody, given the right environment, given the right encouragement, really can find their wings and their purpose to do great things. Now, on a side note, I actually have a little bit of personal experience with flying. And just a really quick story about that. Firstly, I know what it is, what it feels like to fly an airplane, to be behind the yoke and to feel the magic of flight. As an able-bodied person, that feeling of confidence, that feeling of freedom is something that's really hard to convey to others. And so when I understood what Aerobility was trying to do and being able to give a platform for people that have disabilities to really feel free and to feel like they can do anything that they set their minds to, I thought, wow, what an amazing program. Now, my aspirations with flight didn't last long. I started in early 2001, and unfortunately, by September of 2001, terrible tragedy changed a lot of things for the air industry and flight training for a period of time, and that was it for me for a little while. But all this to say that the magic of flight is an amazing thing. I was really lucky to find Aerobility, and I'm now super confident and prepared to do my best, knowing that this is for a good cause and a great thing that we'll be able to achieve all together.
Well, that's wonderful words, Neil. And of course, we're really lucky that you found us, because you know, I think the story that's behind this, I think, is something that the people back home in the UK, I think, will really find a lot of interest in. And we can see now the you know, the London Marathon logo here on the screen. I've run a few marathons myself. I've done London about 4 times, but it's a flat course. But the race you're running is not flat. So tell us how you've managed to sketch the route out. How's your training going? Just talk us through you know, the terrain and what you think you're going to be up against.
Well, John, I have been lucky to run a few marathons in the past, but I'm certain that there isn't going to be a tougher marathon than this. The terrain is a good bit of nearly 1,000 meters of uphill and a little over 1,600 meters of downhill throughout the course. I basically looked at a map of St. Helena, and I tried to understand, how could I go right across the island? How could I find a path right across? The trickiest connecting point is perhaps one of the more important symbols of the run, which was the Diana's Peaks portion, which is the road effectively takes a longer detour unless I travel up through the peaks. And as part of this exercise, as a solo runner, the analogy is, maybe it's true to life. Maybe it's true to life as when confronting a disability, that the journey often feels lonely. There are uphills, some good feelings, some not so good feelings, different landscapes, and essentially it's the support along the way that keeps you going. This series of encounters and moments that ensures that you have enough wind beneath your wings and enough nourishment to continue that journey. And so literally along this run, I will be supported by the Shape organization. And the twist with the run is, I am certain that this run will not be possible without the support of the clients of Shape, people who are seen to have disabilities and mostly needs. But in this case, these individuals will have a lot to give, more than I think they know. And over the weekend on Saturday, I managed to complete the trickiest part of the course. I did a 33-kilometer run from Southwest Point, the entrance near the starting line of Southwest Point. I didn't manage to do the runway, which is the flattest part, over the weekend, but I did all of the other critical pieces of the course, and finishing at Rupert's. So I understand a bit about the pacing that I'll need to exercise on this coming Sunday, and how to complete it. But again, I'm certain that I won't be able to do this without the support and encouragement and individuals that are able to run a little bit with me and help me feel that sense of togetherness. I won't be running fast. It's not about speed. It's about getting to the finish line, and it's about getting there our way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's awesome. I can testify that the seeing your family or your friends, or just the uplifting atmosphere that a city marathon gives you and supports you, is a really big deal. But you're not going to necessarily have that along every mile of the course. You know, I'm sure you're going to have to dig deep, and you know, you've clearly got the experience, and we can see here now, you know, this your website, and I'm hoping that we can put you guys on the map, you know, through the Aerobility community, and you know, everybody in Aerobility is going to have a genuine interest in your endeavour. And we're going to want to know about the charity Basil as well, because of course we're brought together by aviation, and you know, you've chosen to raise money for Aerobility as well as Shape, and you know, we really thank you hugely for that. And you know, we'll be following you every step of the way. How are you going to connect to the rest of the world, Neil, and let us know how things are going? What's your plan to tell the story, you know, beyond the island?
Well, that's a great question, John, and I think the big piece is on race day, trying to capture as many moments of the interactions between myself and my supporters as possible. This is really the essence of what the run will be. The hard part, I guess, is that I really don't know until till we get to Sunday. And so, true to life, it's hard to know what lies just beyond the horizon. But with a positive attitude and having prepared as much as anybody can, you just hope that you're going to get to the finish line and finish feeling strong.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the only thing you can wish for. And you know what, our patron of Aerobility is Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon. Of course, the first words spoken by the first human to step on the moon, we all know, and we all know who said it. But we may not necessarily know the first words spoken by the second man on the moon. Buzz Aldrin said, as he stepped off the limb onto the surface, magnificent desolation. And as I saw those photos that Mike has put up on the screen, I can't help but think, when you're on those long runs and you're just, you know, away from the community, how that sense of you know, being at one with nature must just be amazing, and a feeling that almost everybody else on the planet can't have, because you really are at the end of the world. It's amazing.
Well, John, there's a really interesting connecting point to space travel with St. Helena. So, just in the wider context of care and support, what also might not be obvious is that St. Helena is part of a very special group of islands that includes Tristan da Cunha and Ascension Island. Now, Ascension Island was the first place where the Eagle has landed, was heard, and it was relayed from there to the various broadcast stations to be played around the world. Now, many saints, a large proportion of saints, spend a lot of time on Ascension working to support, historically working to support NASA and to support those efforts. So when it comes to the unsung heroes and the enablers, there's a very special connection between St. Helena and the NASA space program over the years. One thing that I also wanted to quickly mention was that one of the magical things my family and I discovered when we got to St. Helena was how beautiful the night sky is here. And without all the noise of the background lighting, you can see very clearly all the stars in the sky and everything that you probably wouldn't be able to see in a major city. So one thing that I love to do with my kids was to see the space station go overhead, and it occurred to me as I was showing my kids that the space station as it was moving overhead really clearly, I said to my kids, those are the closest human beings to us here on the island.
Yeah.
Sort of a way of framing the isolation of St. Helena. So I guess these are two sort of connecting points that really were very close to NASA and sort of the all of the efforts to explore the amazing things in the outer in the universe and outside our solar system. And So it was again interesting to find out that connection with Aerobility.
Yeah, no, for sure. And who knows, maybe they'll put an observatory there one day, to really take advantage of, virtually no light pollution, or any industrial pollution for that matter as well. You often hear, don't you, about these billionaires wanting to buy their own island. I recently saw a TV program about native Barbadians in Barbados being offered millions of dollars for their family plot on the western side of the island, by these big holiday firms. And they're not interested. And it's amazing that you guys have such a jewel there. You call it home. And I'm sure one day, one of the viewers listening or watching this, or one of us at Aerobility, will get the chance to see you guys. But until I can buy my own island, Basil and Neil, I hope that there'll be a scheduled service there one day, and we can come and say hi.
Yeah, we'd be very pleased. Yeah, we're a very welcoming community. So yeah, and after this chat with you, we'd be more than pleased to see you. But don't make it too long, because I'm very long in the tooth. So make it sooner rather than later.
I will do my very best, and we have to wish you huge amounts of luck, Neil, for your run. You've got thousands of people. They may not be on the course next to you, but they're certainly going to be watching your progress. And Basil, I think that the charity that you've spearheaded is just amazing. It is all about community. I think regardless of the size of the town or the city or the country, it doesn't matter. Community is community. So, really best of luck, guys, for the weekend.
Can I just say one thing? Can you see this poster I've got here? Yes.
Yeah, hold it up just a bit higher. That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
And see the S. See the S. We in the early days they didn't have. We had white sand on our beach. It's a volcanic island. It comes straight out of the ocean. It's more than half the height of Everest, and we're only the top of this huge volcano. And our sands are black. But at one time we had white shell sand on our beaches. And what the early settlers would do in order to get a lime, it was a known process. If you burn shell sand at a high temperature, it transforms into lime. And so in the area where we had built Shape, there's a lime kiln. And so the S is a symbol of transformation. Is the outer, the square. The square is the square outside is the wall of the is the wall, and is the bowl. The bowl is the inside, and so we use this as a symbol of for Shape to as a process of transformation, to transform the lives of disabled people.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. I've never heard such a meaningful story behind that, and it's about changing lives, isn't it? And it's a real privilege to talk to you guys. Mike, is there anything you've got to add?
Well, I just wanted to say also, again, as you said, John, on behalf of Aerobility, thank you very much for being part of the Aerobility family. We feel very connected to you guys there now. So I hope it's a connection that we can continue and develop. And particularly right now, the community on a global basis is so important. So it's great that we've connected. Thank you so much for your help and support. And who knows where the journey will take us together.
Thank you very much, Mike and John. And if I may just make a really special mention to our friends at the St. Helena Airport, who have made the runway available to us and have been really strong supporters. Miss Gwyneth Howell and Mr. James Kellett as well as the great people at Shape. Mrs. Lolly Young that made the introduction with Basil to provide a bit more background context and support. Miss Danielle Anthony, Mercia, and Marianne at the Shape headquarters, who are helping to mobilize the clients to support me on the run on Sunday. Greatly appreciate all the efforts of them and everyone else who has been able to support this challenge, as well as Aerobility and the Shape organization.
Fabulous.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the end result, and I think that Aerobility and Shape have got a lot of exciting times ahead. I think there's a great partnership there to be had for sure. So for now, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Hope the sun's shining for you on Sunday, Neil and Basil. Keep up the great work at Shape.
And thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful making that connection. I think that's what life is about: breaking down barriers and making connections. I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
For sure. Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.